Chart number 2 in the second season of my Strength of the Day Master series is a Geng Metal Day Master born in the month of Ox. As with the first video in the season, I'm going to be extending the topic of discussion, going beyond just the question of the strength of the Day Master, but venturing into the realm of the next step after we have determined the strength of the Day Master. This Chen Day Master is born in the tail end of the winter season, as Ox belongs to the season of winter. Winter is considered the peak season for the element of water and is considered a supporting season for the element of wood. So this Geng Metal Day Master doesn't qualify as strong on the basis of season since it is born out of season. Therefore, it is considered a weak Day Master, in case this was not obvious at all. As with the strong Day Master, we also want to make sure that before we pronounce a Day Master as weak, we need to make sure that we have evidence to support this conclusion beyond just the season alone, although that is probably in this case a rather definitive factor to consider. The desperate student will latch on to the presence of the sin metal inside the sub-chi of the ox and argue that there is rooting that can lend strength to this Geng Metal Day Master. I use the phrase desperate because trying to claim strength from the sub-chi element of a branch is really stretching things. You might be able to make this argument if it was the main chi or even a sub-chi that is within a growth star, but sub-chi of a graveyard branch is really stretching it. This is because when an element is in a graveyard branch, it is generally a challenge to rely on it for two reasons. Firstly, it might be that the element is in the graveyard, and when an element is in the graveyard, its chi is considered weak. Now, even if it is not the element that is in the graveyard but merely present within the graveyard branch, as is in the case of the sin metal here, elements within a graveyard branch are usually very difficult to access or utilize since they are deep within the branch. It's a bit like saying your gun is loaded but the bullets are in your pocket. If you're keen to know a little bit more about graveyards, there's a video I have on this topic and I have linked it above. Although we've decided that this Geng metal is definitively weak, because despite the presence of the sin metal, it's not offering any real meaningful support to the Geng metal, it's important to understand that strong and weak are just descriptive terms and do not in any way represent a judgment on the quality of the chart. The more important thing that we want to be looking at in order to arrive at some kind of conclusion about the quality of the chart is the favorable and unfavorable elements, which we can only ascertain once we know the strength of the Day Master. Here, this Geng Metal Day Master is weak. Accordingly, the favorable elements are resource and companion. Resource to a Geng Metal Day Master is represented by the element of earth, and companion is represented by the element of metal. Companion, by the way of sin metal in the ox, is probably too difficult to access, but earth is definitely plentiful in this chart. In fact, it's present in every pillar. However, we do not want to immediately rush to the finish line and declare good news all around just because one of the favorable elements is located close to the Day Master or in close proximity. In this case, before we arrive at any conclusions about the quality of this chart, we want to ask ourselves if earth is actually an element that Geng Metal likes or can use effectively. Obviously, more questions have now been raised as a result of ascertaining the strength of the Day Master. However, with all things butter, it's important not to be demoralized. Instead, it's vital to appreciate that the strength of the Day Master is just the first step in learning how to read a butter chart. It is an important step, but only the first step.